All right, welcome to this week's Food Sports Central, the podcast of the World Food Championships. I am, as always, because I have decided never to change, I am Mark Conway, and we are rocketing at light year speed towards Dallas and the 10th anniversary of the World Food Championships. And in doing so, we've been talking with everybody from sponsors to people who have won qualifiers around the globe. Here recently, we've talked to Japan, Dubai. We're talking to people here in the States. So we're definitely, truly gaining the perspective that this is really the World Food Championships and your leading opportunity to see where you stack up against the best chefs and cooks in the world. Now, we've talked a lot about what's coming for the 10th anniversary. And we've got Best of the Fest, and we've got the burger battles, and we've got new opportunities on demo stages. There's so many new things coming that are even new sponsors for the categories and new categories. But I think what's been so interesting about this, and I think this is the thing that people are going to be the most buzzing about, is the new Master Judge program. Because this is going to change the way judging is done at the World Food Championships. It's going to mirror, in some cases, some aspects of it, what you see at Final Table if you've ever come or watched Final Table. But these master judges are just that. They are the top of the proverbial food chain. They are culinarians above reproach. They have every kind of credential you can possibly think of. They've won championships. They've been on television shows that you guys have all followed and loved, and they've been able to really capture what it means to cook food, and to cook food at a level that is so high with so much skill and creativity and excitement that you really know that when you see that person or you hear that person and watch them do their shows and such, that you just know, yes, they know what they're talking about. So that's where master judges come in. And we've introduced quite a few of them already. There's even more that are going to be introduced, and the names just keep getting bigger and bigger. So what I wanted to do on the show was start bringing on some of these master judges so you can meet them ahead of Dallas and the 10th anniversary of the World Food Championships. So today's guest is, to say personality would be putting it mildly. This person has won a championship on Food Network. This person has cooked all over the place and is making appearances more and more and more on TV across the country. Is got so much in the works that when you start to realize just what's happening, you're going to be just blown away by what she's been able to accomplish. And the winner of Barbecue Brawl on Food Network. And that's just one feather in a cap that has a lot of feathers in it. You know what? That is a peacock cap. That's who we're talking about. We are talking today with Miss BlueSmokeBlaire herself, Erica Roby. How are you?
I'm good. I'm like trying to remember everything you said. I'm like, oh, that was good. That was good.
You're going to go ahead and you can just tag all of those and use them. You got them.
All those, all my new hashtags. You just said them.
They're all your titles. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. You know, we've been talking about getting together to do this for a while now.
Yes,
and, you know, trying to get your schedule to where you have a few minutes to sit down, because you are on a fast track with everything food, television, food, entertainment, food, you name it. Like, what has this year been like for you?
Oh man, this year's been kind of crazy. It started with just getting a lot new business opportunities and everything like that. And so I was so happy with those and just being able to represent these new brands and bring them into the fold and, you know, give them new life through my eyes. And I love that. And then all of a sudden TV came back in, and now it's doing morning shows and cooking segments. And like, that was very nerve wracking at first because it's 4 minutes. So and it's live. There's no room for error.
Nope.
So So I remember like the first one I did, I was walking into the studio and I just had those same like knots in my stomach that I had on Food Network, where I was just like, oh God, it's happening, you know, and then there's the clock again. But it's just been such a blessing. And now I look forward to them because they're actually really fun.
And you do a great job with them.
Yeah, and I love them because, you know, I might cook something, like if I'm smoking a brisket or something, I'm cooking it the night before. I just did and we were doing a brisket recipe. So I rented this house with me and my mom out in LA. And I was like off Airbnb and I'm like, it has to have a grill. I need a grill. And all I had was a gas grill. So I'm over there like poking foil, making a smoker in this lady's grill, you know, so I could do these briskets. And we're sitting outside and my mom is just like on her phone. And it's probably at this point like 2 a.m. And, you know, we're out there and we're in the Hollywood Hills. So the next thing I know, my mom's like, and she turns her phone around and it's like a surveillance camera of a humongous mountain lion jumping the fence of a home in the Hollywood Hills where we're at. And we're cooking a brisket.
That smelled brisket. Yeah. That thing smelled brisket. It was coming to dinner.
And so like the whole time, and like we were low and the fence was higher than us. So like the whole time, and all I had was like my little thermal probe. So I'm like holding it open, like, oh yeah, you know, if I had to shank a mountain lion, this is all I got.
And all you need to do is Facebook Live that whole event right there. It would have gone viral. It'd have been fantastic. BlueSmokeBlaire versus the mountain lion. Fight to the death over a brisket.
Saves her brisket for E. But yeah, so it's been stuff like that. And it's just been the experiences. They haven't stopped yet. And I've just been so excited about that. And I've really been thinking about, you know, what's like the next iteration of BlueSmokeBlaire? What am I going to do? And I kind of touched on it a little bit by doing my show, The Pit Stop with BlueSmokeBlaire, where I travel around in my RV. I go to barbecue restaurants and I interview the owners and the pit masters and their staff. But I think what I want to do long term is really like get behind the camera and like get other people's stories out there that are in barbecue. I know that I've heard a bunch, even in my own career, especially with the TV side, you know, the networks say 0.00001% of our budget goes to barbecue. And I feel like, okay, that's fine. Then that means there's an opportunity there.
That's right.
And I don't want everybody that I know in the barbecue community, I don't want their story to go untold. So I think the next iteration of me is barbecue Oprah. So we're getting there. We're getting there.
Hashtag barbecue Oprah.
Barbecue Oprah.
You get a brisket. You get a brisket. You get a brisket. I like it.
So I think that's where we're headed now. I like it.
So when this whole journey started and you know, you were doing your thing, and how did you end up on that path that puts you on a show like Barbecue Brawl?
Man, like seriously, the world shut down. I had a newborn, and so I was home already as is. And so I would talk to my dad on the phone all the time, usually like trying to save my sanity. But then, you know, we just started talking about like bucket lists and stuff. And he said that he always wanted a barbecue restaurant. So I was just kind of like, you know what? Ooh, that sounds good. And so I remember I ordered a smoker and I put it together myself, and there was a bunch of extra pieces.
Yeah, because that's normal. It came from IKEA, right?
I thought the smokestack was optional. It's so bad. It was a struggle. But I just like, when I lit that first fire, the bonfire that burnt the tree down, I knew that I was hooked. And I knew it did. It burnt the tree down. It melted the tarp. It was bad. But I knew like at that moment that I didn't want to give up. And whatever this was that I was touching on, like I wanted to do it for a while. And my whole thought was like restaurant. And then because I was home, I had nobody to talk to. So I decided to get social media, and I got on Instagram because I was like, okay, Facebook's more like, you just talk about your life and stuff like that. But Instagram is just photos. So I was like, well, that could work. I didn't know there was like a whole community. And the first time I ever used like a barbecue hashtag, the next thing I know, I started getting like friend requests, and like I would look at their pictures and I would message them and be like, whoa, you know, how'd you do that? What is that? You know? And the next thing I know, I got into the barbecue community on Instagram. And that's what really pushed me toward competing, then getting on Food Network, and then, you know, getting out there on like the large scale competition circuit, like Memphis in May, and attending World Food as a judge. Like it was that barbecue community and seeing what people were doing that really got me out there. And it was like, I remember my first competition, I didn't have anybody with me. I went by myself, and but I felt confident because I knew I had all these people on this little phone, this device, that if I ran into some trouble, like somebody could help me. And I remember I was just like videotaping and talking and stuff like that. And I got through my first competition, second, third, fourth, fifth, you know, sixth. And it was just one of those things where all of a sudden I was like, I'm in a community now, and I like this community, and I like the people, and I love the food. So I was like, we're gonna go with it. And then Food Network called, and they said, oh, you know, it's a little barbecue show. Had I known what it was going to be, I would not have agreed. Like, because I had been barbecuing. Yeah, I had been barbecuing for all of like a year because we were in quarantine. Right. So I mean, I was still learning cuts of meat. Like, but they made it sound like it was going to be this real chill little competition. So I was like, okay, I've done a barbecue competition before. And as soon as I got there, I knew I was in trouble. Like,
well, like, think of the names you were sitting with. Like the people that were on that show. I mean,
namely, I watched.
Right. You're in there, like Bobby Flay's involved. Like these are the biggest names in food television for this little barbecue show they got you on.
Yeah.
You know,
and I was just like, oh man, I was like, I done did it now. Like I'm ruined. I'm ruined before I began. Like, and I remember I went by my middle name. I dropped my last name because I didn't want to embarrass my family. Like that's how scared I was.
Oh my God. That's the best. Those are the best stories though. I'm going to change my name just in case I screw up so bad.
Just in case, because as soon as I saw who was there, I was just like, oh, you should not be here. But, you know, I was just like, you're here now. Like, let's do it. You know, I was like, you done it.
There. You won.
I know. That was crazy. But I really feel like around the 5th week, I really got my groove and I stopped being intimidated. And I like got a lot of confidence in myself and my abilities because I was like, I've been to hell and back, like already in this competition. There is nothing left to fear. So at that point, my only goal was to not get kicked off first. And once I achieved that, like the fear just kind of went away because I was like, well, I didn't get kicked off first. We're good. Like, let's just have fun. And then by like the 5th episode, I started getting comfortable with the cameras, comfortable with the interviews, comfortable, you know, with the food that I would be able to pick from. And I was like, I'm just going to cook like I'm in my backyard. I'm going to cook like I'm back, you know, at my house. And I'm not going to sit there and compare myself to everybody else. I'm just going to cook what I know. And that was something that Bobby told me. He's like, the way I've won everything that I've won is I only cook what I know. I don't cook outside of myself. He told me that. And I was just like, it was almost like that, like Karate Kid, Mr. Miyagi moment. And all of a sudden I would just like hear it every day when the first competition would start. And it was like, cook what you know. And so I just did it.
It's very true. Like you see that all the time. So, you know, people get so worried about, well, you know, people will pigeonhole me or put me in this box. It doesn't matter. If you're in the box and you're good at that box, win.
Make it. Yeah. Yeah. Make it the prettiest box ever.
Exactly. He's one of the top chefs anywhere, you know, especially when it comes to television and media and everything else. And that guy cooks his food.
Yeah. And he doesn't apologize for it.
Nope.
And I watched, it was like so true. I started watching everybody else on the show, and the people that did not cook what they knew got sent home. So I was like, that was a real nugget of advice. And I was just like, thank you. Like, thank you for that. Even though, I mean, he told all of us, like our group, our team, but I feel like I'm the one that really took it because I didn't have any street cred at that point. Everybody else had been on shows before. They'd done other things. And I was coming from zero. So everything that was being told to me, it was like a sponge.
Yep.
And I made sure that like I always remained humble. When the judges would come out, whether they would say like, you know, call me everything but a child of God, or whether they praised me, I kept everything they said and I listened because it was really like giving you clues of what they wanted. So when
Yep.
they would ream like 10 people for it not being flavorful enough, or they'd ream somebody for saying things were too salty or things were too this, I just like took that all in like a sponge and I said, okay, they want it flavorful, but flavorful does not mean salt. They want
Yep.
it to have heat, but heat doesn't mean, you know, burn them. They want this. They're looking for crunch. I found one of the biggest things that will save you is crunch. They always want texture. Like, don't feed them something mushy. It has to have layers of texture. So
Yep.
even if it's not the best, if it has that texture there, you're doing well. And so I made sure like everything had texture.
Yeah, as long as you have those fundamentals, that's where everything starts from. Solid
Yeah.
fundamentals, then you bring it up from there. But
Yeah.
so you win barbecue brawl, then you're doing events like Memphis in May, and you're competing at Memphis in May, and you're winning at Memphis in May.
Yeah.
How do those two compare? What is the competition? What's the difference in competition from, say, going on a Food Network show to a Memphis in May?
Remember the May I had more time. You know, I had time. I was in my own little space. Nobody was like coming around, you know, doing anything. But the things that really compared was the judging. Having judges come and sit and eat your food and talk to you while they're eating it and wanting you to explain. That's the same thing you do on Food Network.
Mm-hmm.
So that was so easy once Memphis in May came around because I was like, we got this. We've done this. We know how to talk to people. So that was something that was really cool. But definitely TV food shows are much harder because there's just so many moving parts. You know, like every little scene you see, that was a camera in that person's face, or that was a camera 2 inches away from their hands, you know? So a lot of people, you know, you get that invisible wall. You don't realize that every person you're trying to cook, but there's like 9,000 cameras trained on you at any given moment. And that goes on for like 12 hours a day for, you know, days, weeks. And so, you know, I remember after the first like 2 days, I went and started cooking in front of a mirror, like fake cooking in my hotel room in front of the mirror, because I was like, what faces do I make when I'm cooking? Because those are the faces they're going to show. That's something you don't have to worry about at Memphis in May. Nobody's watching you cook and have, you know, trained on you looking to see what you look like, if you're making funny faces. So there's just so many extra levels of stress to be on a TV show versus just a competition, that a barbecue competition or something like that, you know, and you have a team. You're not by yourself. Like, your team is working with you because you guys are the team. Whereas on a show, you guys are a team, but you're also competing against each other. So really nobody has your back. You're out there
trying to win.
Yeah, you're out there alone. So I think those are the biggest differences.
And then you came to World Food Championships last year, and you came as a judge, and you were all over the place. You were talking to everybody. What was it like to be on the other side of things and concentrating on judging?
First, I was excited to actually get to judge. I didn't know like if I was going to get in, and I really wanted to. And then being there and being a judge, I just had so much respect for every plate of food that came my way. I had so much love and admiration for everybody I saw. And, you know, you get to see everybody in their elements. And for once, it's not you. So that's a relief. But then, you know, you're watching these people. Like, I remember you and we were watching when the cakes were coming in.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was crazy because it turned into be like chef CrossFit on top of culinary, and they're balancing these heavy cakes and walking all the way over red carpets and stuff. And I really found myself vested in the chefs. And I really found myself rooting for every single one of the chefs and everything that they were doing, because I could see their skill level, first of all, and like their desire to put their best foot forward and to give you to execute things perfectly. And that makes it hard because you get presented these dishes and you see the first one, you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then all of a sudden, like 10 more come that are equally as amazing. And you really have to break down and, you know, get into your elements and what was this? And you're really kind of like splitting hairs when you're going through these dishes and looking at them and tasting them and trying not to get palate fatigue. because, I did barbecue last year, and that was a lot of barbecue. But it's like every person that put a plate in front of you, they deserve the respect. Their dish deserves that respect. And they deserve to have you at your best because they gave you their best. So I really love that. And it was just, and everybody was so cool, and seeing everybody was so nice. So I loved talking to everybody. And I mean, it gave me so many recipe ideas for my own life and things that I use, because when you have all these different brains and they're all artists, everybody's an artist that's there. So seeing their take on something, you might see the description, but then their take on something, it's just like, whoa, where did that come from? How did you think that? That's amazing. Why didn't I think like that?
Right.
So it's almost like for the judges, it's a boot camp. And it's like a culinary boot camp, and it's helping you get better too, because you're facing these dishes that you might never have thought of. And that's something that's very humbling, but it's very inspiring. So that's what I loved about it. And that's why I can't wait to be back.
And that's why we were so excited to bring the Master Judge program in, because instead of it being, completely blind judging in the back, you're sitting at the table and you're going to be mingling through the competitors, being able to see firsthand what they're doing, looking for those special techniques, those special flavor profiles, those inventive, creative new things that they're doing. And you're going to get to see it right there firsthand. So here's cool. What I saw, and this is why I think this person deserves a chance to go on.
That is so cool. I love that. So, and it's just amazing. Okay, good job. He's doing well in Halo.
That's excellent. I mean, that's a very important skill set right now, because at any moment you never know what could happen. In
zombie or alien apocalypse.
Yes.
So my 4-year-old is on it.
There you go. Yeah, our kids are going to save us all. So, but I love that you have that mentality about judging, about giving the respect to the contestant, being on the best game, because that is so vital. Now you're going to be a master judge, which is that next level of judging that we have, that you've got that one-on-one interaction as you talk to these teams. And, it's also the 10th anniversary. So we've got all these other events that are going to take place, and you're going to be all over the place. And I'm sure you're going to have plenty of the cooks and teams and people there that want to meet and talk with you. And I think that's just one of the things World Foods does. It brings everybody together through a universal language, which is food.
Yeah. And it's a love language, and it's a welcome mat. And it's one of those things where you see everybody and you see the pride, and you just you feel the love, even when they're stressed, even when that clock is going down and, they're opening up where it's time to go, it's time to run the food. There's just so much respect and love in that room, and outside at the barbecue ranch area. It's just awesome. It's awesome. And I love it. I love the energy, and I like seeing the spectators that come and talking to them. And, a lot of them I found out, because I was just talking to everybody, as you already knew, but a lot of them were like, I wanted to see it firsthand to see if it was something I could do. Yes. If it's something that I think I could ever do. My wife and I, we own a food truck, and we'd want to do this. My husband, he cooks, and he really wants to get out there. I talked to so many people that came from so many different walks of life that were just there as spectators, but really it was because they want to be there. That's where they want to go. And that was their goal. And just being able to watch it, hoping, getting some food, getting to try things. They were so excited about that. And it was worth them traveling everywhere they came from just to be a part of that. And I was like, you know what? That's amazing. People brought their kids. It was good to see the little chefs in training. It's such a positive culinary event. It's good for everybody. And that's why I can't wait. I had my thing on an alarm when they were like, judging's open. I was like, you want to be there. It's something you want to do, and you deserve to at least see it. If you're a foodie, or if you're a chef, or you're like me, you're a home cook, but you got dreams, this is the place to go to really kind of see what's happening and to taste some of the food and see what you would do in that situation, what you like, what you don't like, what you're into, where you want to go, where do you fit in this? Because then you get a whole year to get in there and start going. So I think it's great for everybody.
For sure.
Yeah.
Now, where can everybody follow what you're doing right now?
BlueSmokeBlaire on Instagram. That's the thing I'm actually on all the time. It's also Facebook, but I'm really on Instagram all the time, and I respond to every message unless it's something weird. But other than that, I respond to everybody, everything. That's where I do stuff live, and I talk to everybody. So October 7th, I'll be on Good Morning America. So that's going to be cool. We're just nailing down some recipes right now. So I did look at my old world food photos just to see if I had some inspiration.
I mean, like you said, it's a good place to find new creativity.
Yeah. So I'm super excited about that. And, you know, we're gearing up to do some crazy stuff. So I'm really happy. I like it all.
Well, we're super stoked that you're going to be one of our master judges. I mean, it's one of those things that we've been so excited all year about getting to. And when you and I first talked about it, you were like, yes, I'm in, let's do this. And so now you're going to be one of the inaugural master judges. And guys, if you haven't done it already, go in, check worldfoodchampionships.com. There's new information, new dates, deadlines, ticket information, new events that are going to be taking place that you don't want to miss. So that's worldfoodchampionships.com. And then also follow the World Food Championships on Instagram and Facebook for a lot of your up-to-minute videos and information and Q&A that goes back and forth. And of course, BlueSmokeBlaire, thank you so much for being on today.
Anytime, anything for you.
And, well, we are just honored you're going to be with us. And guys, don't miss this one. 10th anniversary event. Huge things are coming down the pipe that we haven't even announced yet. And otherwise, BlueSmokeBlaire and I will see you in Dallas. See you next week.
See you in Dallas.